Hello, and welcome to Dr. Ced Says. I am Dr. Cedric Wood, and this is my podcast on the Ides of August 2025. That's the 15th of August, and there's so much in the news. I could probably talk for hours to comment on all the things going on, but I will limit it today to what I saw this morning. Another soldier, Ukrainian soldier, was killed, and they were burying him, and they showed a picture of the funeral at this place. I guess it's a cemetery where all the soldiers have been buried. And his mother was so hurt, so devastated that she couldn't even stand up. She was just lying there next to the to the coffin. And the people were trying to help her. They interviewed his brother, who is also a Ukrainian soldier. And of course, he was stoic and clearly holding back terrible emotions. I mean, what else can you do when a beloved family member is ruthlessly killed for no good reason? Now, Ukrainians will say, yes, he died for a good reason, defending the land, our land, Ukraine. Okay, well, that's understandable. But when you step back, but what's the whole thing accomplishing? What's the whole war for? That's what we're going to analyze today. There can't be a good reason for it. And I really am surprised that psychologists, people like myself, aren't analyzing Putin more. What's the psychology of this whole war? What is the purpose? And so I'm going to try to do that real quickly. It's going to be short and it's going to be inadequate, but it's something I just created, and so I'm anxious to share it with you. And so I'm going to look at Putin's mind through the lens of child development. There's UCT, unresolved childhood trauma. No doubt he has that. And then there's the acronym TROUNCIL that I came up with. I'm sure he had plenty. What was it? Trauma, rejection, abuse, unkind, uncaring communication, neglect, chaos, indulgence, and loss. So that's where I start on my poster, which is, I call it my conflict model. And so you can see over here, that's the whole list of where our personality comes from, many different ways that our personality develops. And I can't wait for Texas or the United States to start giving short tests to every student, age whatever, 14 to 18, to find out where is their personality, how healthy or unhealthy is it, so that we can move forward with helping them grow and become as healthy as possible. But I'm having a hard time finding anybody that says, put my name down. I agree that a class at every high school in mental health and well-being is important, and it will do so much to stop what? School shootings, school stabbings, hiking trail stabbings, or fast car driving by someone who is driving under the influence. We've got to get these under control. In virtually everyone, okay, only 99%, there is a young man who had a development, a childhood, that was not that healthy. I'll go into that on another podcast. Right now, I want to go into what I've created yesterday and today, and that is, this is my conflict model. And it starts off with the A person. The bottom is the A person. The two top circles are the B person. The A person does something that starts an argument or a conflict of some kind. And usually that is innocent. I just went to the store. We have to go to the store to pick up some food, but then we get home and the other person says, where have you been? Well, I went to the store. We're supposed to be over at Jane and Bob's house at 7 o'clock. It's 10 till. We're going to be late. They live all the way across town, and so we're in trouble. And of course, how we react to that and how the other person reacts to our reaction dictates going forward, whether that's a short conversation that's healthy or a long conversation that turns into a terrible argument. I see couples all the time where their conversations have turned into arguments. So I help them know how to avoid that. So here we are with Putin, his childhood. What was it? I can't believe we are not analyzing. Maybe it's on C-SPAN. I never watched that. I wish there were C-SPAN 4. What? I haven't heard of that. Yeah, because there's 1, 2, and then C-SPAN 3 is history. I saw one day the humor of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, that's interesting, but the world is full of trauma and pain and death because of the absence of C-SPAN 4. The psychology of the human experience and everything around that. I'm shocked. When are we going to get that started? So this is my version of C-SPAN 4. I'm going to talk about the psychology of human experience. Vladimir Putin had some terrible trauma of some kind in his childhood. So I came up with an acronym, LIE, Life Intervening Events. So he's growing up, but events that impacted his life created his personality. So he did something from that. Now here's a square here, just like this one. I tell that the filter. What is this filter? It's all of this. And the main one here is, as I went over, trounsel, trauma, rejection, abuse. That impacts a child's life. Every single one of us were impacted. Hopefully you were not impacted horribly. I don't think I was impacted horribly, but it's not a completely clean slate. And most of us will say that. It's not a clean slate. I had events happen that really affected me, okay? And so that becomes the filter, and that becomes his personality and his initial act. Well, what is that? The initial act was lining up tanks and soldiers on the border of Ukraine. And everybody knows what's happened ever since over the past 3.5 years. A war has happened. Horrible destruction of people's homes. So many deaths. How many deaths? One estimate was 1 million dead and wounded people in 3.5 years. That's horrible. But now how many of those were actually people that were killed? One estimate was about a quarter of that, 250,000 people. So 100,000 Russian soldiers. Does Putin not care about his own people enough to stop and ponder, am I doing the right thing? Does he have a good SAMQ score? What is that? Self-awareness of my mental health quotient. His must be very low. So today, President Trump is meeting with him and trying to convince him, hey, you're misbehaving, young man. Look at what you're doing. You're causing 1 billion units of suffering and so many deaths. Won't you please stop? But see, here's the thing, is that we haven't really learned it. A little here, a little there. Putin is driven to keep fighting because of that wounded inner child. How do I know? It's because he's having a good time sending his soldiers, just like we used to when we were kids, but our soldiers were this big. Oh, boom, boom, ah! That was fun in the sandbox. He's doing it with real, live people. It's unthinkable. And where are the psychologists on the nightly news that are being interviewed to say his personality is egopathic for sure? Is it narcissistic? Probably. Is it sociopathic? You could probably go there. Is it psychopathic? Well, to be a psychopath, you have to go out there and kill a bunch of people. Let me see. 250,000 people killed. I'll let you decide. And so this is what's going on. So here's the initial act. And now this is Ukraine and really the rest of the world responding. Now, this is inadequate for a whole world conflict. This is just for a husband and wife, or two spouses that are in a relationship, and they want to be able to discuss things and work things out so that there's not a lot of conflict. That's what this is for. But I just had a good time developing this. I always kind of knew, that something was in front of the initial A1. So this is A1, A2, A3, B1, B2. Now off the chart over here, I've got to do that, is B4. And it just keeps going. And there's A5, and then there's B6. A5, and then B6. It just keeps going and going as the conversation keeps going. What I'm shocked about is that the world news industry is failing at interviewing psychologists to say, what is going on in the mind of Vladimir Putin? Come and interview me. I have a lot more to say about this. And here's the thing, is I think if President Putin would see somebody psychologically analyzing him and saying this is from deep woundedness in his childhood. He's still angry about what happened to him with his mother and his father and how they treated him. There's a little bit of indulgence in there. But if he could see somebody analyzing him, I would like to think he's intelligent enough to say, oh, is that what's going on inside my mind? Oh, well, maybe I should go and talk to a therapist or a psychologist. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Just somehow he would see himself for the person that he is, a person who absolutely is not caring about billions, well, let's put it this way, millions of people that are suffering. Now, how much are they suffering? If you think of a unit of suffering as what you feel when you accidentally stub your toe on a chair and you go, ouch, ooh, and you get angry for a minute, what is that chair doing there? If that's one unit of suffering, Putin is causing billions and billions of units of suffering. If we can quantify it in that way, maybe even he would stop and think, okay, I guess getting a big chunk of Ukraine annexed into Russia is not really worth it, I guess. And I guess I'll withdraw all my troops. But see, the other part of that is he has a need to be recognized. You might say to be loved. Did he not get enough love as a little boy? But now all the recognition he's getting around the world with all the news story, it feels like love to him. People are paying attention to me. Yay! Oh, I feel so good. I feel like I matter. It's funny that President Trump was president 5-6 years ago, and he went and spent time over in North Korea with another person who was clearly egopathic and narcissistic, the president of North Korea, and he gave him some attention that feels like love to the wounded little child inside of him. And guess what? He calmed down. He stopped threatening to send missiles over to America or over to South Korea. It worked. Give people the attention that they're craving. Why are they craving it? Because they didn't get enough appropriate love and attention growing up as a little boy. So I'm hoping that this is another brilliant move by President Trump to meet with President Putin and give him some love and attention. And hopefully it'll work that President Putin will say, okay, I guess I shouldn't kill any more people and bomb any more nursing homes. Please, please, President Putin, the world is begging you to stop. Okay? Thank you for tuning in to Dr. Dr. Says, and letting me go over my conflict model. And if you have any questions, please call me up, 214-394-4040, and I'll explain it to you further and explain to you how you might be able to use this in your marriage or in your relationship of any kind. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time on Dr. Says. Good night.